You're 6 years old the first time your fingers touch real ivory. Not plastic keys from a toy, not the stiff ones on your school's keyboard lab. These are smooth, heavy, full of history. Someone lifts the fall board. The keys gleam. You press 1. Middle C. It rings out, clear and strong, and something inside you shifts. You don't know what it is yet, but you feel it. A pull, a gravity. Your parents watch from across the room, smiling. Maybe it's just a cute moment to them. But something happens that they can't see. A few weeks later, your first piano teacher visits for a trial lesson. You copy back melodies without reading the notes. She watches for 5 minutes, then says quietly, "She has it." You don't know what "it" means, but you remember her saying it. You remember how your mom's eyebrows lifted when she heard it. While the other kids are outside scraping their knees and collecting Pokemon cards, you're inside figuring out how to play by ear. You're drawn to melodies like a magnet, copying commercials, cartoons, anything. Your fingers move faster than your thoughts. You don't realize it yet, but you're not just playing music. You're disappearing into it. By 8, you're performing at school recitals. By 10, you've won a local competition. By 12, you're playing full Mozart sonatas from memory in dimly lit churches with stiff pews and polite clapping. You feel the music in your whole body. A crescendo makes your spine tingle. A perfect trill feels like flying. You don't care if the audience is full or empty. When you sit at the bench, everything outside the room vanishes. But it's not all magic. Your back starts to ache after long practices. Your hands cramp when you skip stretching. You start canceling birthday parties and skipping playdates because you have practice. People call you a prodigy, but they don't see you weeping when you can't get a passage right. They don't hear the silent bargain forming in your mind. If you give more, if you sacrifice enough, maybe the music will love you back. You're only 12, and already you're learning what most adults never do. Dreams don't come free. By the time you're 13, you're no longer just a kid who plays piano. You're a pianist. It's no longer a hobby. It's your identity. What started as joy is now precision. What started as freedom is now responsibility. The stakes feel higher with every year. Your parents rearrange their schedules around lessons. Your teachers expect more. You expect more. You enroll in a conservatory-style high school where everyone is brilliant. Everyone is special. Everyone was a prodigy somewhere else. Suddenly, your talent doesn't set you apart. It's the baseline. You're not the best in the room anymore. You're lucky to even be noticed. So you double down. You stop playing video games. You stop sleeping in. You start practicing before school and again at night. You time your meals around rehearsals. You keep a log of every missed note in every run-through. You fill notebooks with fingerings, dynamic markings, and alternative phrasings. You begin skipping meals just to fit in more hours. You begin losing sleep. You develop a tremor in your left hand, a little one, just enough to scare you. Your teacher tells you it's probably stress. You nod and pretend to agree, but deep down you think it means you're weak. So you say nothing. You tape your fingers. You ice your wrist. You keep playing. You win another competition. Everyone claps. Your name goes up on another poster. They call you gifted. They don't know you stayed up all night fixing a 4-measure passage. They don't know you cried the night before, convinced you'd forgotten how to feel anything through your playing. You begin to associate applause not with pride, but with relief. If they clap, you must be okay. You must still be enough. You enter college at a top conservatory with your heart in one hand and a binder full of rep in the other. You wake up before sunrise to book practice rooms. You fall asleep to recordings of Horowitz and Argerich, trying to absorb something you can't name. And when you fail a jury for the first time, your whole body goes cold. You cry in a bathroom stall, wipe your face, and head back to the practice room like nothing happened. Because you've already learned, in this world, the only way out is through. You graduate with honors, with perfect juries, glowing recommendations, and a degree that took every ounce of your youth to earn. You think there will be something waiting for you on the other side, an audition, a contract, a path. But the world doesn't care about your distinction. You're not the only one. There are hundreds of you, thousands, all just as trained, just as hungry. Some with better connections, some who can afford to wait, some who got lucky. You play a few summer festivals, you smile politely at every donor and administrator. You play well, but not memorably, not at enough to be the one who gets the call. So you take what you can. You teach part-time at a community music school, guiding 8-year-olds through chopsticks and Twinkle Twinkle. You play background gigs at hotel lobbies, weddings, fundraisers, anywhere with a piano and a paycheck. You lie to yourself and say you're just building your resume. You move between cities chasing auditions. Each rejection stings less only because you start to expect them. You get good at smiling through disappointment. You get better at shrinking your needs to fit inside your means. You live with 3 roommates in a studio apartment. You eat cheap. You buy your concert clothes secondhand. You carry a folding stand and a dog-eared binder of rep everywhere you go. You still practice. You still believe. But every year it gets a little harder to justify. The kids you used to play with are getting married now, posting baby photos, buying homes. Their lives move forward. Yours feels stuck on pause between rehearsals. Sometimes you play for an audience that's more empty chairs than people. You finish a piece and the silence after the last note feels like mockery. You bow anyway. One night during a quiet recital, your left hand locks up in the middle of a Brahms intermezzo. The tremor is back. You fake the ending. No one notices. You thank them for coming. You walk home in the cold with your hands in your coat pockets, thinking maybe this is just the price of chasing something beautiful. But you wonder for the first time how much more you have to give. You're not expecting the email, not after months of silence, months of ignored follow-ups and will keep you in mind replies. But it's there. A chamber group, well-known, well-respected, needs a last-minute replacement. Their pianist injured his wrist. It's Schubert. Rehearsals start tomorrow. You freeze when you read it. You haven't performed with an ensemble in almost a year. Your hands are stiff. Your confidence is thinner than ever. But you say yes. You dust off the score and don't sleep that night. You go over every phrase, every modulation. You don't have time to second-guess yourself, so you don't. You just work. Rehearsals are rough. You're rusty. The tempo slips. Your entrances feel just a bit late, but something happens halfway through the second day. You settle in. You start breathing with them. The music becomes a conversation again. You remember how it feels to belong to something bigger than yourself. Performance night arrives. The hall is small, the crowd modest. No critics, no sponsors, just people who want to hear music. The lights go down. The first notes echo into the room and you feel it again. The hush before a downbeat, the space where the world pauses and waits to be moved. You don't play perfectly. You don't need to. You play honestly. And after the final chord, there's a long silence. Then applause, real applause. Not polite, not automatic, the kind that means something. Afterward, a little girl waits in the hallway. She's maybe 7, eyes wide. She says, "I want to play like you someday." And you smile not because it flatters you, but because you remember being her. It doesn't change your life overnight. You don't wake up famous, but it's enough. Enough to remind you that what you do matters. That even if the stage is smaller, even if your name is only known by a few, the music still reaches someone. You keep playing, you keep teaching, you keep showing up because that one night, the hush, the warmth, the girl in the hallway wasn't your comeback. It was your reason. Years pass quietly, not with fanfare, but with rhythm. You're not chasing stages anymore. You're not waiting for the next breakthrough, the next miracle email. You play because it's part of you, because it still stirs something deep in your chest, because even when it doesn't pay well, or at all, it still feels like home. Your hand never fully recovered. The tremor comes and goes. Some days are worse than others. You've adapted your technique. You warm up longer. You sit differently. You favor a rep that gives your left hand room to breathe. You don't tell most people. You just adjust. You play less for competition, more for connection. You fill community halls, retirement centers, school gyms. You play for anyone who will listen. And sometimes for no one at all. You record pieces and upload them to a channel that gets maybe 200 views. You smile at every comment. You don't care about the numbers, not anymore. You teach a lot now. Kids, teens, adults picking it up for the first time. Some with dreams like yours, most with dreams of their own. You watch them struggle through the same scales, the same clunky beginnings. You see them light up when something finally clicks. You remember that feeling. You don't tell them how lonely it got for you. You don't talk about the gigs that never came or the nights you stared at your hands wondering if they'd betrayed you. You don't tell them how many birthdays you missed, how many tears fell quietly in practice rooms after hours. Instead, you say things like, "Nice touch. Keep going. Try that one more time." You still dream about it sometimes. The hush before the first note, the hammer striking string, the moment in the middle of a performance when everything vanishes, your worries, your pain, even your name, and all that's left is the music and the silence it leaves behind. You wake up sometimes reaching for sheet music in your sleep. You smile when you realize. Because even if the dream didn't look the way you pictured it, you lived it. And if you had to do it all again, with every heartbreak, every missed opportunity, every hard-won moment of grace, you wouldn't hesitate. You would sit at the bench, place your hands on the keys, and begin again.